Hey, how are you? Welcome to Trapping the Time. I'm Pablo, and today I'm going to present you another Swiss watch that has just arrived to my collection, this LUMINOX Pacific Diver Chronograph. A few weeks ago, we contacted the LUMINOX brand, with its distributor in Spain, offering to review some of their watches in our channel. From the first moment, they welcomed our proposal with enthusiasm, which we are tremendously grateful, especially because they have not put any precondition, which of course we would not have admitted. And now, before going into the review of this Pacific Diver, we must talk at least a little bit about the brand. LUMINOX was created in the hand of an American entrepreneur named Barry Cohen, a veteran of the watch industry who discovered in Switzerland a backlight technology, tritium tubes, which allowed superior visibility even in the worst conditions, as they allow you to see the watch in the dark without having to charge it, as we do with the Lumen, which needs a light source to operate. Tritium tubes do not, as they have their own light. Derived from hydrogen, tritium is a radioactive isotope that keeps clocks luminescent both day and night. Do not be afraid. It is not dangerous, but very effective. To give an example, if you were to stay locked in a cave in complete darkness for 10 days, with a normal watch you would only be able to tell the time the first night. After that, the lumen that equips most of our watches would fade. But if you wore a watch like this, you could stay in the dark for up to 25 years. That's an understatement, as we already know that this is impossible. In fact, that is where the name of the brand comes from. Lumi, in Latin, refers to light, and Nox is the Roman goddess of darkness. Thus, the play on words forms the name of the brand, which in English would be light darkness, LUMINOX. The story goes that in 1992, Navy SEALs Chief of Purchase Service Nick North was at a trade show looking for a trustworthy watch for his night missions when he came across the LUMINOX booth and Barry Cohen. And from that meeting was born the watch that has made the brand known around the world, the Navy SEAL, an iconic watch among the armies, special forces and police forces of many countries. And this fact was confirmed to me by a good friend, ex-policeman, and very fond of watches, who, talking about this brand, told me that it was very often used among his colleagues. And it is not surprising, because these watches, in addition to a very marked aesthetic of tactical, military, or tool watch, is characterized by its resistance to the harshest conditions. To finish this brief review of the history of the brand, I will say that in 2016, the founder sold LUMINOX to the Mundane Group, so it can be said that it started as an American brand, and now it is Swiss, as accredited by the Swiss Made that all its watches show. And now it's time to focus on this Pacific Diver Chronograph. I must add that when we were told to choose which one we wanted to be sent, we had serious difficulties to decide, because we liked them all. Although the one that caught my attention as soon as I saw it was the one with the blue dial and orange strap. I think it looks great, but the guys liked the red one better, and that was before we saw the timers in the same series. So the three of us quickly agreed. We all really liked the orange one. And the truth, I have to say that it is an imposing watch, with a sporty design, and for my taste, spectacular. And let's start with the review. It is an analog watch with 3 hands, 3 subdials, data, and practicable bezel. although I will not argue that it is also a superbly prepared diver, as it allows immersion to 200 meters. It equips a Swiss quartz caliber, the Ronda Z60, which offers an accuracy of between -10 and +20 seconds per month. And another interesting fact is that the battery life can be up to 4 years. The first thing I want to say, first of all, is that it reminds me a lot of my lunar pilot, in the sense that consulting, be it the time, the chronograph, any of its functions, is extremely easy because of the great contrast between the matte black dial and the markers, also of the subdials and their hands, which are all immaculate white. The hour indexes are shaped like a post or bar, although slightly wider at the base. They are only visible at 1 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 11 o'clock. The rest are trimmed or disappear at 4 o'clock to make room for a huge dater, the easiest to see of all the ones I have, and, although this complication I do not usually miss it, in this watch not only does not bother me, but I like it, especially that they have completely eliminated the corresponding marker and that its place is occupied by that large window. The rest of the indexes, which as you can see are painted, have different sizes, resulting in an asymmetrical configuration that I, aesthetically, appreciate very much. At 12 o'clock we see large Arabic numerals and just below the brand logo, framed in a red shield-shaped profile. It looks good, that touch of color to a dial so contrasted where everything is black or white. Between 2 and 3 o'clock we see the second subdial divided into 60 bars, and with numerals 20, 40, and 60. At 6 o'clock is the minute subdial of the chrono, 30, divided into bars and numbers 10, 20, and 30. In the little space left between the hands and this subdial we can read 200 meters, and at the bottom, the Swiss made. And in the third subdial, between 9 and 10 o'clock, we see the days of the week with their abbreviation in English. All subdials have white, sword-shaped hands. About these subdials and their functionality, I have to comment something. The truth is that at first I was disappointed by the fact that the chrono was only accurate to 1 second. We are used to quartz chronos being tenths of a second or even more accurate, like my lunar pilot that has 5/100ths. That's cool, although I also have to admit that I've never used it. I also realized that by not using a subdial for the tenths, as usual, they can use it for the day of the week. Much more practical and functional. In short, we see a dial with a lot of information, but very easy to consult. I love that aspect between chaotic and functional. It is the first watch I've seen with so many different shapes in their markers, and that, the date at 4 o'clock, the letters of the subdial of the days of the week, the 12 as the only marker with numbers, the logo, etc., make it look completely asymmetrical, and, as I said, I love that. It is chaotic, but very well organized and above all, very, very practical, due to the amount of information it contains and how easy it is to read. The hands have a peculiar shape. They look like swords, but also have that pencil point. Anyway, what stands out most about them is that they do not have any profiled faceting or color. They are brushed and smooth metal, I guess to facilitate the admission of those tritium tubes that makes them more visible both day and night, of course. The trotter you see at 12 o'clock is the Chronos. It has a large counterweight and its tip is red. And we come to that large orange frame that carries on the perimeter. I don't know whether to say it's the Rayhout because, as you can see, it barely rises to meet the inside of a very visible case, or say it's the outer ring of the main dial. Either way, whatever it is, it perfectly frames the dial, gives it volume, gives it color, and helps its thing to be perceived as a sports watch. In addition to that intense orange color, it incorporates the markers of the minutes or seconds that every 5 coincide, as always with those of the hours, but instead of bars, usually a little wider, this one has tritium tubes arranged horizontally, and, as I see it, they look great to the design, and above all, to the usefulness of the watch. About this lighting system in the dark, I want to tell you something. As soon as the watch arrived, the first thing the guys did was to take it to a dark room to check how much these tubes illuminate, and the truth is that they were a little disappointed, in the sense that they expected a performance similar, if not superior, to that of the Lumen. They did not understand that tritium always behaves the same. It glows with an intensity perhaps less than a freshly charged Lumen, but the light of tritium, although dimmer, is constant, and that when you really appreciate it, is when the clock has been completely dark for several hours. When the luminous paints, even the magnificent Seiko Lumibrite, are losing intensity until they fade, is when this system, the tritium tubes, demonstrates its enormous usefulness. We continue with the magazine and we find a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective, framed by a bezel of a strange but very, very efficient material, the Carbonox, a patent that the brand uses in many of its watches. With this material, which they have been using since 2006, they produce pieces that have a rigid and hard finish, taking the overall durability of their watches to a higher level. In addition to being durable, it is lightweight, comfortable to wear, resistant to shocks, scratches, and temperature changes. In addition, it is also highly resistant to chemicals, is anti-allergenic and anti-magnetic, and as it is a carbon fiber composite, it is non-metallic. My Pacific Diver, as you can see, only has the bezel of this material, but many of the Luminox also have it on the case. Although I prefer that, as in this case, it is stainless steel. Not because I don't like or distrust Carbonex, but aesthetically, I like it better this way, combining both materials. It is a diver's bezel, with the time divided into a marking that alternates bars and Arabic numerals every 5 minutes. Finished in white color, although in the place of the 60 we see a window or a glass eye, where it hosts the tritium tube to help see in what position we have the bezel when there is no light. It is unidirectional rotation, has 60 clicks, and the truth is that it is quite comfortable to manipulate. Seen in its grooved part is where the material of which it is made is most appreciated. At first glance it looks like cast iron or something like that. But no, it is not metal, but carbon fiber. And we come to the stainless steel case with very peculiar shapes, with that growth that we normally only see on the side of the crown. But this watch is, unlike the inside, symmetrical on the outside. And that's cool because, given the design of the dial, let's say it stabilizes it, so to speak. You can see that it's the same on the right side to protect the pushers and crown, as on the left to safeguard the bezel, I guess. I really like its aesthetics. It combines straight facets with other rounded, and except for the lip that runs along both sides, visually separating the handles of the case, which is mirror polished, everything else has a vertical brushing that, besides looking very good, promises to help not so much notice the micro scratches of daily use. On its right side, we find a crown that is screwed and allows immersion to 200 meters. I wonder how they will guarantee the water resistance with pushers that are not screwed. I don't have many to compare, but for example, my Belova only allows 50 meters, and the other one I have is the Pagani Daytona, that with screwed pushers only guarantees 100 meters. Since I had them on hand, I decided to ask them how this was. And they immediately put me in contact with Xavi from Luminox Technical Service, a watchmaker with over 20 years of experience, and he explained to me very carefully what the mechanism they use and how wrong I was for thinking that a screwed pusher guarantees better water resistance. Not only because you can dive without realizing having it unscrewed and mess up, also because its operation of constant friction over time can lose the perfect fit, But in addition to this, he explained to me that, speaking of pushers, it is much more important the inside, how it is made on the inside, than what we see on the outside. In this case, he told me that Luminox uses a tube that contains the pusher, and this in no case, even if we operate it, comes out of that tube, which moreover is perfectly sealed, not by a rubber gasket as most cases, but Luminox puts two. Anticipating that the first one can be torn by friction, it has a second one that makes it very difficult for water to pass inside the watch. The truth is that the talk with Xavi was very entertaining and instructive, which helped me to demolish another myth, and that's two in a single video. Well, contrary to what I thought, it is not only not better, but it can be even worse, that the water resistance of your watch depends on screwed pushers. Greetings, Xavi. The truth is that your patience and your good explanations were great. And we continue. We see a crown that is of good size, although very well integrated into the protection offered by the case. It is prominent at the bottom, which allows a good grip and handling. It has two positions for the change of date and time, with second stop included. It is finished in the same brushing as the case, and has the brand logo stamped in high relief. If we turn the watch upside down, we see a screw cap, very elegant thanks to its different finishes. On the central dial there is a 5-pointed star where we read, since 1989, on a sandblasted surface. Around it a 45 degrees angled scratch, and in the ring around it we see again the same sandblasted finish of the star, where we can read every second counts, and below, always visible, written in English. In the next ring, already with the usual appearance of steel, we can see different legends and references typical of this watch. And we come to the strap, which I really have to say that I love. It is made of rubber, very thick, and its touch is not as flexible as the silicone ones, but it does give you a feeling of quality, of permanence. But well, I will only know that with the passage of time. The truth is that I've never had a strap like this one. The matte finish, I do not know if it will be, rather I think so, prone to stain. But well, an orange strap of whatever material is going to get dirty. But since this one is made of rubber, it can be washed without a problem. What I really like is that the name of the brand is embossed on each side of the watch. It gives it a very sporty and youthful look. Maybe that's why, since it has arrived, my children have been raffling it. Alex, who doesn't wear any quartz, also wants it. But well, I do not think they will fight. The truth will share it without problem, as they have always done. Although the problem may come from my side, since I also like it a lot, and if that strap might make people think that I have a midlife crisis, and therefore I want to look younger with bright colors, I can change it for the bracelet, or for this natto, or also for this blue one that is also rubber but more discreet. For my personal use, I must say that I like it with the NATO. Also, this one you have sent is of exceptional quality. It also gives it an imposing presence. I like that casual look. Although in summer, when I have toasted leather, maybe I'll put the orange rubber one. Although I also like it with the bracelet. Anyway, I like it with all of them, the truth. It's a diver, but it doesn't look like one. It's a chrono, but much more functional. It is also an adventure watch, as I see it. Although, by how beautiful it is, it seems that aesthetics takes precedence over utility. In reality, it is one that defines the brand. Durability, reliability, and easy reading in any circumstance. The measurements of the watch are 44 millimeters in diameter, 13 millimeters in height or thickness, 51 millimeters long between posts, and 24 millimeters wide between lugs. The weight with rubber strap is 115 grams with the complete extensible, and 180 with bracelet with all its links. And that's all for today. I hope you liked this video. I hope you did, and I hope you like it. Thank you very much for being there, and if you want to see you in the next video. Greetings from the team, and see you soon.